So they released Stadia. They've been having fucking issues with it. Now, on top of the fact that it was overpromised and underdelivered, so there's still elements to Stadia being 2 months old that it still doesn't have. So you still
And you
cannot.
still have to buy the games.
You still well, that's something that won't go away because it's not Netflix. A lot of people confused it for like Netflix for games, but it's not that. It's different. And
Yeah, but don't you still have a monthly cost for the Stadia service?
when you think about it, it makes sense. If you spend 12 to $15 a month to just play the games, when you tally it up to the amount of time it takes for a new console to come out, it's around the same price. You're just not having to upgrade anymore because it's constantly they're upgrading their servers. Problem is you have to put the faith in Google to actually do that shit and not run it on a fucking toaster, which is what they're doing currently, because they can't. In some of their games, they can't even support 4K. Not every game supports 4K because they're not optimized properly for whatever toaster they're running this server on. So, on top of the fact that you have to deal with that, internet isn't advanced enough to support something like this. I just think it's something that's too early. But that's not. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about now. There's still no phone support outside of Google Pixel. So if they say move to any screen, you can't even technically do that unless you have a Pixel phone. You can't play this on iOS or Android still. Still no free version that you don't have to pay for. And there's still issues with wireless support for the controller for PC. So it feels like this service was rushed as fuck. But now problems going on is there hasn't been a single update or game added to the service in 42 days. And the service has only been out for like 70 something days. So for a huge portion of this new launch of this service, they haven't done shit like jack all, and they're completely radio silent. So fans are getting frustrated, obviously, especially ones that early adopters. Now, early adopters will always get fucked. It's just part
I
of
would
the
say
process.
users get frustrated. Calling them fans is a strong word.
um, if you're an early adopter for anything, you're signing up to get fucked to a degree because that's just how technology is. It will improve over time, and you're signing up for the earliest model. So you're just accepting all the punches now. But this is just kind of going overboard for these people. People are losing faith in the service, whether or not Google will even keep it or terminate it, suspend it, keep it in limbo. Just everyone, and the fact that they're not talking, and the people behind the service aren't talking to anybody, it's just not giving anyone any confidence in it. So this is around the time that the early adopters received for the pro service, because you get a certain amount of days for free. That time's running out, so people are talking, discussing whether or not they're going to renew, if they think it's worth it. And it's again overpromised, underdelivered service. Got a lot of people figuring out whether or not they want to stick with it, and it's difficult for these people because they can't really do anything. I mean, they're not fucking doing anything. So it's just interesting to see where Google goes with this. And they also have like 120 games planned to be released this year, and we're already in February and we haven't seen a single one. So that's their plan. They don't really have anything along the lines of a roadmap, which also doesn't help anyone. They have no idea when updates will come out. There's no talking going on, and we've talked about this a million times, that the lack of communication can kill any project. Because
Yeah, you need to be as transparent as possible.
yeah, it's entirely possible that they like Google's like, fuck, we got hype around this, just push this shit out, and you three developers are going to work on that toaster until you figure something out. And they're just having issues. They're not saying anything because they don't want to. They probably can't say anything because they don't have anything. They're working on fixing issues, implementing the features that they promised, and just all of this shit, dealing with probably a lot of stability issues because the service is not perfect anyway. If it ran the games perfectly, I could see people still sticking with it, even with them being the radio silence. But there's still a lot of people that have issues just with latency in general and streaming the games that are actually running properly and all this other stuff. So it will be interesting to see what they do moving forward and how Google handles this. But it's showing a lot of signs that this might be something that gets thrown under the rug. I hope it doesn't, for the people that did go into the early adopter. They spent $130 to do this. I'm hoping they get their
My
money's
question
worth.
is what are you going to do to people who actually bought the software? Like they bought the software and now they don't have a platform to play it on. Or I should say they bought the license because you no longer get to buy software.
Yeah, I
So
this game, it's ultimately just server space and access. So they could just eat the minimal costs and just run the servers, and then again put it in a limbo. Say, hey, we're not developing this anymore. The people who did buy the games, you can still play them. God forbid if you're playing Destiny, because those people can't interact with other players, so you're just on a dying player base, can't do shit, because they only can matchmake within Stadia. They can't, like, you think like they'd be able to play with PC players or something, right? Because the Stadia is being run on a PC, but it's actually like its own console. Stadia players can't play with anyone else other than Stadia players. So multiplayer games will slowly die out. So the things that will really work will be like single player. So it'd be interesting. But like, again, it for Google, it costs like fuck all to like run storage and stuff like that. So they might just eat the cost to keep those people happy for whatever indefinite time, because they make billions of dollars, and keep it that way and just further and just suspend any further development on it. We'll have to see what they do. They're going to start losing people really fast, and the big, people at the top are going to find it harder and harder to justify having a service in a state of continued development if they're not pulling in any money because they push the shit out the door too quickly. So it's interesting. But you already know what me and Sean's stance. We thought this shit wasn't going to be good from the get-go, mostly because it's Google and they have their issues. I still think at one point in the future, there will be a good enough alternative to local instances of games being streaming, and xCloud is always showing really good signs of that with their service. They shit on Stadia, the Project xCloud service by Microsoft. So they might become that actual contender. What Stadia failed at doing, we'll see what happens as that goes into its like fully fledged state instead of the beta there. I think it's not even a beta, I think it's like an alpha right now, but it'd be interesting to see what happens. But I think there will be a point in the future where that will be a good enough alternative for a lot of people that don't play games that often, where they can just stream them and do it that way. But yeah, that was that. Fucking, oh my god. And finally, Warcraft. We'll stick on this a bit, but this show's running long. We did a lot. We did a fucking lot. But hey, that's what we do here. We do a lot. So I know some people don't like long.
We do
a lot. That's our new motto. We do a lot. We don't do it well. Let's get it. All right. So Warcraft 3 recently dropped. Very recently, within the last week. And had some problems, to say the least. Now, this game, the original Warcraft 3, is old. It's like 17 years old, long time ago.
Classic RTS.
Yeah, actually inspired a lot of greats through, which is another issue with people, because what happened with Warcraft 3 Reforged being put out is that it took the place of original Warcraft 3. So the games don't exist in separate entities anymore. Now, if you had Warcraft 3 and you played it regularly, the new Reforged just kind of overwrote that. The client would update and you'd lose the old Warcraft 3. You couldn't play it anymore, which is how it is now. So not only did they release a overpromised, underdelivered game, now people don't have the alternative of just going back to playing what they were the day before. They've not only released a crappy version, but they've taken over the good version with the crappy version.
What's crappy about it?
Well, okay, so there's a few issues. And there's also a lot of anti-consumer things going on. But like what I was saying before, Warcraft 3 had a lot of custom modes that were made by modders. One big thing, if you ever heard of Dota was a custom mod that came out of Warcraft 3. I forget what it was called. It's like Defenders of something. I don't know. And it was so the MOBA genre came out of an RTS, which you can kind of, if you look at them, they kind of look similar. And that was Warcraft 3. So Blizzard obviously wasn't too happy because Valve swooped in, basically hired the modder and had him made Dota, and they just yeeted that, or they basically yoinked that shit from Blizzard, and they lost out on a fuckload of money. Like the MOBA genre is ginormous. It makes, like, literally both of them are in the top 10 earning games for the year, and Blizzard lost out on that completely. And they tried with Heroes of the Storm, and we all know how that happened, how that went. So the biggest issue with Warcraft 3 Reforged is there's the features were held back. So the game, the biggest thing with that it introduced that's new is that there's the models from the original Warcraft 3 were redone. The game looks nicer, obviously. But they had, when they originally showcased the game off at BlizzCon, they had like this really nice trailer for an important element in the story called the Culling, which led to Arthas, I think his name is. I'm not, my Warcraft lore is not good. I've watched videos and watched people talk about it because I kind of like it, but I'm not like a god when it comes to Warcraft lore. So the people got infected with this blight, and this was on his path to becoming the Lich King or some shit, if I recall correctly, and he killed a bunch of people. They showed off a trailer that showed almost like a cinematic. This wasn't like something you'd see for like an MMO releasing a cinematic, and you know for sure like that's not what the game looks like. This is just a nice cinematic to get people hype. This looks like it's in engine. Like it looks like it's designed to be in engine, and it has like all these cinematic swooping angles, and it looks nice. And the game is released, nothing like that. Nowhere near cinematic, nothing. So a lot of the changes that they made were literally just graphical updates and taking out features. Like there's no competitive leaderboard. There's not even like text speech, like text chat. You know, you can like type to other people. You can't do that for some reason. They had like a customization for your profiles that was taken out. Custom games are allowed, but now they updated their EULA basically, where now, Sean, if you make anything in Blizzard 3's or in Warcraft 3's customizable thing, it does not belong to you. Now it belongs to Blizzard. So if you make a really cool looking fucking game and you decide to take that and patent it or whatever, how the fuck you do that, and move it into something else, you've lost. The moment you made it in Warcraft 3 Reforged, you lost, because they own every ounce of what you created. And there's nothing you can do about it. So they basically kind of closed that gap that made them miss out on the MOBA genre and pissed off a lot of people.
I didn't know that. I played. I never had a computer, but at the time they could do that kind of stuff. But I had friends that had Warcraft, and I played that and StarCraft. I loved them, and I'm not a huge RTS guy, but the story was so much fun, and like the battles were so much fun that it really kind of got me into it. Plus, they didn't have a huge barrier for entry. Like they were games that had like a good layer of challenge to them and strategy to them, but they weren't super hard to figure out. But I didn't know you could mod them. Like I had no idea there were mods for. I mean, there were custom like matches and stuff, but I didn't know there was modding or even tools for modding, or that Blizzard at one time was like favorable to it.
Yeah.
Like Valve used to be.
Yeah. They quit. They shut that down real fucking quick. They don't want to mess with that anymore. So that was one big thing. The whole thing with the cutscenes. So it's nowhere near as what they had advertised it to be. Now, and that the companies do that all the time. That's not really a big problem. It's the fact that it looked like it was in engine. So it looks like they had the technology to fucking render that cutscene. They did it somewhere. Someone fucking rendered that cutscene, made the camera swoop around and look all nice, and it just didn't make it into the game. Everything else looks the same except the swooping camera angles and the nice looking shit. So someone took the time to render that, and they just didn't put it in the game, and they just released it. So, like, that's the part that baffles me. It's not like it's something that's being done out of the engine and it makes sense it wouldn't exist. It's just for hype. This is literally in engine. They just had to make the camera spin around and look nice, and they didn't even do that. It's so fucking weird. But again, yeah, retroactively removing features from the original version. So
stealing the software from people that paid for it, like that should have been a totally new version of the game, so that people could still play their classic Warcraft.
Oh yeah, that sucks. That
Warcraft off the market when you put this new one on is predatory.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So
that's some active. Oh wait, active. Yeah. Never mind.
Monka. Okay, so issues that have existed for things that have existed for like the 20 years that it's been in play, like clans, the tournaments, LAN and offline play, ranked ladder play, all that stuff no longer exists.
You can't play Warcraft 3 offline?
No, not Reforged.
So
Reforged you can't. This new one you can't.
What about the story campaign?
I guess you have to be connected. It's probably whatever you have to be connected, DMCA or whatever.
Holy shit, that is some. Oh my god.
Custom
I got
campaign.
iDubbbz level words for that.
Custom campaigns. Custom campaigns no longer work. Blizzard said they're working on trying to patch some of this again, and the moment they do and they fix it, people are like, "Oh yeah, I love Blizzard, man. Yeah, let's give them all our money. Yeah, Diablo 4 is gonna be great." So, okay,
Well, Diablo 4 probably will be great. They haven't fucked up any of their Diablos.
we'll find out. Activision.
I mean, I'm not
the
a big
hand
Diablo
of
fan,
Activision is strong.
Yeah.
So basically they release a new game that looks better but is worse in every other sense of the way, or every other sense is worse. What the fuck is going on?
Ever since the word.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm terrified of what they'll do to StarCraft.
Yeah, so Eula fucks over custom content, so no one wants to make anything anymore. And then obviously people are not happy because of all the other shit that's been happening. Obviously we had Blitzchung earlier in the year, and so Blizzard's just in hot water, and they haven't been able to get out of the pot yet. They're still kind of boiling in there. And now, is it worth
start by not being douche tards?
Yeah, is it worth a 0.5? No, I don't think any game's worth a 0.5 unless you're selling them like a cracker in a box or some shit like that. But this is definitely an overreaction, but it's a justified one, right? Like all these are plenty justified reasons, and this is one way to show a company, hey, you fucked up, you dumbasses. Why did you do this kind of thing? And it's just like the game, like some people even had like the campaign crashing on them. Like the game isn't stable. Like they fucked this game in every sense outside of it just looking a bit nicer and be able to do 4K. And have made it worse in every other aspect. So it doesn't look good for Blizzard. It makes people mad. Not only have they had a game that they loved ruined in a sense, they have a bad taste in their mouth, they now cannot fix that by going back to the old one. It's gone.
Yeah, and Warcraft 3 really kind of put them on the map.
Yeah, like, the Warcraft series, Warcraft that will let into start. Warcraft is their baby. I don't know how they can fuck something this important to their audience this badly.
Their legacy. Yeah, this is a legacy thing. Warcraft and StarCraft. I mean, before WoW, Blizzard was kind of a niche developer. Like all their titles were niche. Blackthorn and
what was it called? The one on the SNES?
Vikings
or some shit.
Yeah, the Vikings one.
I had
Lost
that
Vikings. Lost Vikings. Yeah. All of their early work, like they were niche. They made console games, computer games, but when they finally released Warcraft and then StarCraft a little bit later, and those series, and kind of built off those legacies, they were this huge uber geek like mecca to go, like designer to go to. They had all these interesting ideas. They took, but I mean, and bear in mind, Blizzard's never had an interest like an idea that was solely their own. They took other ideas and added layers of polish.
Mm-hmm.
They were really good at reworking ideas and making them their own. And I mean, like Dungeons and Dragons has never complained that they got ripped off. I mean, it's obvious that they're ripping people off, but the way they do it, I think, is okay. They're taking a formula, they're using someone else's ideas, and then they're putting their own spin on things. They always had respect, you know, but this is like important pieces of video game history, and they're shitting on them, and it's their own pieces. Like that's what confuses me.
Yeah. Also,
like, how hard is it to take something that you already made perfect and just make it prettier?
Yeah.
Polish it up.
The EULA also removes elements that are copyright material. So like they had like certain game modes, like one was called Pimp My Mario and shit like that, an anime fight or DBZ fight. Anything that has any form of any mod or any custom online mode that has any form of copyrightable material is banned too. So you can't do that. Also, top of this, the first couple days when the outrage first broke out, people were being very stingy with refunds, and people in forums were trying to help others. And if you were like actually saying or talking about refunds or how to get refunds from Blizzard because the was not what you wanted. They were getting banned, so they're making it harder to spread information about being refunded. And it's just, again, another really fucking
shiesty,
piss poor handled a thing. Now, when it comes to like actual not user,
that's like Bethesda level shiesty.
Yeah, it's fucking. Let's see, what is it sitting on a Metacritic right now? Metacritic Warcraft 3. Look at that first response. So from actual critics, it only gets a 61. So the people that don't even give a fuck about this, that are paid to give it a decent review, it's still only getting a 61 out of 100.
Look at what the original got.
The user score is sitting at a 0.5 with 23,000 ratings. So, okay, let's see.
You know what's scary about Metacritic is that actually impacts stock performance.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really has nothing to do with it. Like, the people's perception of a company's success is affected by Metacritic, which is that's kind of lousy if you think about it.
Yeah,
the original
like Rotten Tomatoes.
The original had a 92 Metascore and a 9.2 user score.
Now, how easy would it have been to not?
Like that's.
I mean, Blizzard's
been
fumbling the past
good.
few years now, so
I'm just saying the game was already good. It's not like it needed a touch up. All they had to do was rework the engine.
From what I've heard too, for the most part, they stayed very safe with any changes they made to the game, which makes sense. Like, you don't want to go crazy when you're reworking something, but sometimes like map reworks can happen, or they'll make small changes here and there to kind of constitute a more updated feel, or how they want to make the flow of the matches go and stuff like that. And
like they did with Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, for the most
games
part,
are almost identical, but there's some very fine changes that actually make the gaming experience kind of different.
It's almost like they just gave the project to a bunch of students and just told them to make the models look nice, or like a bunch of art students or something. And they're like, "Oh, sir, what about all these elements like the online play?" It's like, we'll fix it later. We'll patch it later or whatever. And this game just released incomplete and broken and not what was promised, according to the deep dive panels they had at BlizzCon. Now, of course, they're not going to talk about like issues. They're there to sell their shit. They're hyping up the game. That's all these are. If you're going to a conference for a thing, they're there to sell you. Make sure that you, by the time you leave there, you've pre-ordered that fucking game. And that's what happened. And they got a lot of people. And then another story, just showing you that pre-ordering is not always the best idea. You really don't. You can buy the game the day it releases. Look up some reviews. Pre-ordering really isn't that at all that important. But just a lot of people are really just fucking mad with what they've done, and it does not help that Blizzard has already been in some hot water recently. So I'm interested to see where they go with this. Obviously, they're in the midst of it. How long will it take them to patch, fix the game? Will they make it where old Warcraft 3 can be downloaded again? Or are they intent on keeping this the definitive version of the game? How long will it take them to get all the features missing from 17 years ago? 17 years ago?
You know what this is going to do, though? It's going to take those collector's box sets where they boxed, which was a big thing, where you'd get Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 and all the expansions in one big box. Those big boxes. Yeah, dude. Like, if I know a lot of people that bought every boxed copy of Warcraft 3. I have no fucking idea why, because that was before people collected games. But they would buy every time a new one came out. So they have a fully functional copy of Warcraft 3. They can play anytime they want.
Yeah. Well, the thing is
but now it's worth money.
I'm pretty sure the thing is the launcher itself is what's updating, Sean.
I don't think you used to need a launcher for it, though.
I wonder. You might be able to rip the game. I don't know. I don't know how it's changed. I never played it. But that's what I've heard from people. Like, people cannot play the original Warcraft 3. So because the launcher is what the client for the game itself is what's updating. So I'm not sure.
The client, I don't understand how the client would take the software you're playing and change it that drastically.
I don't know. It starts an update and you can't access it outside of that. I have no clue. I haven't actually tried it. I don't really give a fuck about the game. We're just here to talk about anti-consumer practices, and this is Activision showing its hand, I think. We don't really know for sure. You never really know for sure. It can't be a fly on the wall. One thing, this is the number one most discussed PC game of 2020. So far.
Well, I wouldn't say hand. I would say like maybe cloven hoof.
So it's interesting. We're gonna be watching Blizzard, obviously, see how they adjust and what they do when it moves forward.
Hold on. Have you noticed since Activision started fucking up like left and right? Like, you know who's had their head like so far up their own ass so that nobody will see them?
EA?
Yes. When was the last time you heard anything about EA?
I've heard more fuck ups from Ubisoft than I have from EA. They're just like, guys.
Yeah, like EA is just like, hey, we're not here.
Hey, go make the next FIFA, please.
Yeah.
Just keep making FIFA, bro. We don't got nothing else. Stop everything else. Make FIFA. Did you release the next 6 DLCs for Sims? Cool. Go make FIFA. That's all they're doing. Yeah. There's not really much else. So it sucks. I feel bad for the fans. That's the problem I have here. It always sucks. It's always fun to make fun of people that make these dumb decisions, or the upper echelon people making these dumb decisions, and just how they're fucking over people. But it sucks. This is something that a lot of people loved and loved dearly. Like this is people's nostalgia. This is huge elements of their early life, and it's just practically, until they fix it, wiped away and just ruined to a degree, because it puts a bad taste in your mouth. Like, this should have been something that reignited people's love for this series of games, like Warcraft Classic did, which did excellently, and it got fucked over like badly. And I've talked to a lot of fans, especially Frost, who's in both our community and the IOG community. And he said he stopped talking on Discord for like 2 to 3 days. He was just like downtrodden. He depressed, like that this happened to one of his favorite games ever. And it just sucks to see. And that's the part
no different than when you see a company take a shit on a movie franchise.
Oh, yeah.
On a comic book you love or something like that. It's the same exact experience.
Yeah, you know what's funny is we opened this decade talking about wanting to see publishers and developers respect IPs more, and this is the first fucking thing that happens in the year. Dude, like, come on. Like rearing its ugly head. Oh, like, I just thought about that, like, fuck, man. Hey, can we not do this, please? Moving forward, can we think about how much people care about these IPs, like I asked earlier in the year when we were talking about our decade discussion? Like, how hard is that?
Yep, that was a mutual request.
I think a lot of this, people are realizing another thing is that Blizzard is just not what they were. Blizzard is not the same company anymore, not the same people.
They shouldn't really call them Blizzard anymore. So they should just call them Activision.
They're never not going to do that.
EA, they're the three monsters. Yeah. It's the three-headed Hydra.
Yeah, they're never not going to do it because it's obviously got the power of the name and shit.
Yeah, no, I just think the fans, I mean, the gaming public should just stop calling them Blizzard and call them Activision constantly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like Activision gives any amount of a fuck. Like, Activision, EA, and Ubisoft have never cared. I think that some of the people that work there might, although I'd be more inclined to say that about Ubisoft, because Ubisoft used to be run by gamers and profiteers. So they would either make really shitty fucking shovelware, or they would make really interesting experimental games. Like, that was Ubisoft's thing for a long time. Like, 8 shitty shovelware titles, and then there's one really interesting game that makes it all worth it. And then 5 shitty shovelware titles, and then 2 really interesting games. And I really think they pushed the shovelware out so that they could finance the really interesting ideas. And then Ubisoft just stopped doing interesting things.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, once in a while you'll see something come out, but most of the time they just spend their time stealing other people's ideas. Well, I should say stealing their own employees' ideas, and then firing them, or putting out the next Assassin's Creed.
Man, they ruined Assassin's Creed. They killed Ghost Recon, they killed Assassin's Creed, and they killed Tom Clancy they haven't fucked with his coffin yet. They can't get the nails off the lid.
Well, no, they own his name.
Yeah.
They bought his name. Like, he stopped being involved in any of that shit a long time ago, and then he died.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
But
more.
they had his estate sold them the rights to his name, so they just make military-esque games and glue his shit on there.
Yeah, because it
But
sells.
it's got
sells
nothing
copies.
to do with it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Yeah. Fucking.
it's branding. They could be like Tom Clancy's cooking sim. Like
I'd buy that.
that's about
Season pass?
as fucking real as it gets.
Is there a season pass?
Oh yeah,
All right. So
2 of them.
So, dope. Yeah, dude. I love when
And there's
2
like
season
32 different pre-order variations.
Bro, and can I customize my chef with in-store microtransactions or in-game microtransactions?
Yeah.
Bro, game
But
of the
if
year.
you pre-order it, it comes with 3 bonus pairs of multicolored socks.
Do I get a special spatula? Oh, dude, collector's edition.
No, only if you get the collector's edition.
Yeah. Engraved spatula collector's edition, bro. It's signed by the Ubisoft what is their name again?
I love it.
Ubisoft
I love it.
staff. Bro, I have dyslexia. I'm dying. My brain's falling apart. But yeah, dude, signed by them. Little middle fingers there. Fuck, man. All right. Thank God for Indy.
I feel like Ubisoft should just change your name to, hey, we're not quite as bad as EA and Activision.
Yeah. We're third worst, boys.
Woo!
Yeah. All right. Well, a good discussion. Wow, it is 1 a.m., boys. We fucking made this way too long. Hey, let's get it though. It was fun. It's always fun.
I didn't know 3 minutes till 1 minute. It was 1 o'clock.
What?
It's 3 minutes till 1 o'clock.
Don't even talk to him. Just don't listen to him. We don't.
That is one thing that annoys the crap out of me. Oh, it's 1 o'clock, bro. It's like 12:57. It's not 1 o'clock. Don't. What are you? Some time wizard? You're gonna add time? You're gonna speed it up?
So if it's 12:57, can I say it's 12 o'clock? Can I say it's 12 o'clock, Sam? Since is that the same logic that applies?
No, because it's too close to 1.
So it's 1 o'clock.
That's the point of saying it's 1 o'clock.
So it's 1 o'clock.
But
So
no,
wait,
no.
So Sam, you're saying since it's so close to 1 o'clock, it's almost as if it is 1 o'clock.
But it's
right?
not 1 o'clock yet.
So it's 12 o'clock.
It's called a pet peeve.
It's 12:58.
So you don't have to justify a pet peeve, but it's just a silly one. That's all.
I think people that chew their food too loud can go fucking die.
That's the same thing. Yeah. Although I agree with you there.
Well,
or the
what
ones
about
that
this?
scrape the forks on their teeth. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, what about this? On December 31st every year, if it's 11:58, is it 12 o'clock yet? No, it's not. It's 11:58.
No, it's 12 o'clock.
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't even know what you're talking about, bro.
I am so confused, and I know I probably
hate it when people round time up. Is what I'm saying. I hate it when they round to the nearest hour.
Oh no, we got that. You have a pet peeve about rounding time.
So can I
right from the beginning?
But we don't round the time up when it's December 31st on New Year's Eve.
Can I round years down?
I'd like to.
I'm down for that.
Okay, cool.
But that's still rounding time, so that should anger Sam.
No, he lives a lie, so we don't have to worry about him.
My life is a lie.
What the fuck is going on? Have you ever seen that meme? It's like that fat kid. Well, he's not fat. That's mean. But it's this kid, and he's like at a Denny's. It's like dark. It's like, I'm assuming it's late as night. He's like, what the fuck is going on, Denny's? And they're like rocking out in a Denny's, bro. And there's kids like moshing in Denny's. It's fucking dope. Wait, let me see if I can find it.
What?
What the fuck is going on, Denny's?
I gotta see this.
Oh, no. Oh, my God, so loud. Here, I'm going to play it for the podcast. Everyone listening.
I want to see the video, right? Put it in the chat.
What the fuck's up, Denny's? All right, wait. This is... We're fucking loose cannon this episode, man. I don't know what's going on.
Now it's 1 o'clock.
Oh, thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. So, it's what the fuck is up, Denny's. So, I fucked up the meme. This band is called Live
the
Without.
Metal Prophet.
Apparently live at Denny's. Fucking hella dope, man. What the fuck
Did
is
you just
up,
say
Denny's?
suck a dick?
He might have. Yeah.
How did they get away with doing that in a Denny's?
Bro, you see that kid doing like bicycle kicks through the crowd?
Yes.
Oh, man,
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was their mixing is garbage, but I mean, it wasn't bad.
I don't know the acoustic quality you're getting out of a Denny's.
It was gloom metal from the sound of it.
Oh man, that's funny.
But it wasn't bad.
Fucking loose cannon this episode.
That's pretty fantastic, though. I do really like that. What the fuck? What's up? What the fuck's up, Denny's?
Suck a dick.
Dun, 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 dun,
And then you got like the proud parents in the background where everyone's moshing it.
Yes. There's like this small like pseudo pit, and then like the people in the background that are like Yay! This reminds me of nothing.
Is this the Twilight Zone?
Like, what is my life? Oh God, I gave birth to that.
There's a stream where I watch.
Quite enjoyed that.
There's a stream where I watch and people say that he looks like him. So every time that video comes up, it's like, oh God, it's him. It's funny. He also sounds like him too. Okay. All right.
It's like a bunch of stocky dudes on guitar too.
Yeah.
Like everyone in that band, like needs to be on a low carb diet.
All right.
Like myself.
All right, boys. Episode 119. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. 3.5 hours. Fuck. We promised we'd stop this. We just need to stop doing everything.
No, you promised you would stop this over and over and over.
We just stop doing so much for you guys. Stop working so hard. Stop working ourselves to the bone to satisfy your urges. I'm sorry. Okay.
That just went in a very different direction than I thought it was going to go.
Satisfy your urges, bro. Hit me up. Premium Snapchat.
Ooh.
Let's wrap up this episode.
You gonna sell your bathwater?
No, my bathwater's mine alone. I drink my own bathwater. That's how I'm so healthy.
That's how you get that luscious beard.
Yeah, I've achieved nirvana, and it's by drinking my own bathwater. You have to make sure you're really foul when you step in. Like, give it a few weeks.
Yeah. Like, you get that fucking weird itchy growth on your bunghole.
Yeah. You get a dingleberry so large it actually closes your asshole. It's just like a cover.
It cuts your skin every time you sit down.
Yeah, no, it's like a cover. So if you fart, it doesn't actually come out because there's a dingleberry blocking the exit.
Ugh.
That's a good image. I'm glad I painted that for everyone here.
You fart and your lower intestines scream. It doesn't make a fart noise. All you hear is coming from your belly button.
What if that's what farts sound like, dude? What a different world we'd live in.
You live in a different world where every time somebody farts, it sounds like a woman screaming.
Yeah, it's screeching. No, it's the Wilhelm scream and nothing else.
Oh yeah.
God.
Every time someone farts, it's a Wilhelm scream.
I saw there's a parody of this thing where it's essentially a butt plug.
Okay.
And it's called Toot Tones. And they stick in their butt so it sounds like a music instead of a fart.
That's beautiful. Is that an actual product? Can I buy that?
No, it was a sketch or whatever.
Fuck.
Something.
Oh, dude, what if they had
when I was in
what if they had one that
middle
auto-tuned your farts? So you fart through it, it auto-tunes the fart. That'd be dope.
It just comes out sounding like Lil Jon.
Yeah.
There's another one that makes it sound like whatever.
Yeah. Hey.
They made a.
Hey.
God damn it, Sam! You reminded me of something funny, and that Lil Jon shit just wiped it out.
We're gonna perform Little John performances with our auto-tuned butt plugs. Okay, we need to wrap up this episode. We're off.
God, it was really good too.
We're too off the cuff. Watch the What the Fuck Is Up Denny's video again, and let's get this out of the way. All right. So outros, boys. Let's wish the beautiful people a good night or day, wherever you're tuning in. Sam, you want to start with for us?
Yeah. Everyone have a great week and keep rocking those puns because they are funny.
Someone's got to keep them alive.
Yeah, you know. Oh, here's one. Okay. So, think of the word pun unintended.
Mm.
If you were to separate the words, it would be pun intended.
What?
Get it? Because it's... Never mind.
I don't get it. All right, Sean.
Yeah.
We're just going to move forward and not acknowledge any of what just happened. Sean.
I don't know. This.
I know. You like you got hit in the head with a pan, but we need to move on, my guy. Come on, outros.
Oh, I messed it up.
No,
It's,
you've lost your chance. Sean, outros, so I could hit stop.
Kisses and all your pink parts. Run!
Yeah, sailfish can leap out of the water into the air at a speed of 50 miles per hour. Boys, we out.